issues new expletive-laden threat to Iran. Open the Strait of Hormuz or the US will attack your bridges and power plants. Today, America is celebrating the successful rescue of its downed airmen, but the president's incendiary statement threatens dangerous escalation.
This is all embarrassing and juvenile, and it's people trying to act like they're puffed up and tough when what we really see from the administration in this war is the absence of a plan.
Also tonight, Pepsi pulls out of sponsoring the Wireless Music Festival after the Kanye West anti-Semitism row. 200,000 miles from Earth, the Artemis crew get their first sight of the far side of the moon. And
Newscaster in the middle. Newley puts on a bit out. Smith goes to the equaliser.
Hearts' Scottish Premiership title hopes are dented with a draw at lowly Livingston.
This is On TV News with Romilly.
Good evening. President Trump has issued his most direct, expletive-filled threat to Iran yet, warning they'll be living in hell if they refuse to open the Strait of Hormuz. Just this morning, the administration was celebrating after the rescue of a US colonel stranded in Iran for 2 days after his F-15 was shot down behind enemy lines. But no sooner was the rescue complete, the president was back issuing deadlines, insisting a peace deal is still possible, but so too is an attack on Iran's infrastructure, which would constitute a war crime. Lewis Warner has the latest.
The threat isn't new, but his language is increasingly unfiltered. President Trump today repeated his demand for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz, warning the country's infrastructure is firmly in US military sights. In one of the most brazen and defensive posts of his presidency, he wrote, "Tuesday will be power plant day and bridge day all wrapped up in one in Iran. There will be nothing like it. Open the expletive strait, you crazy expletives, or you'll be living in hell. Just watch. Praise be to Allah."
Bombing them back to the Stone Age, cursing them, Secretary Hegseth saying, it's death from above, no mercy, no quarter. We will ignore stupid rules of engagement. This is all embarrassing and juvenile, and it's people trying to act like they're puffed up and tough when what we really see from the administration in this war is the absence of a plan, the absence of a clear rationale.
Trump's shifting deadlines look increasingly erratic. On March the 21st, he said he would hit and obliterate Iran's power plants within 48 hours. 2 days later, he said the strikes had been postponed after productive conversations. On March 27th, another delay, this time for 10 days. And just yesterday, he said Iran had until Monday before he'd unleash all hell. Now he says strikes will happen on Tuesday. The president is seemingly emboldened after the successful rescue of a stranded US colonel whose plane was shot down on Friday. This wreckage, the remains of US military equipment destroyed during the extraction. As Black Hawk helicopters took fire, Trump says the pilot was trapped on Iran's treacherous mountain range. Injured but able to walk, armed with only a handgun. Hunting him down, armed Iranians, perhaps hoping to claim a £50,000 reward, reportedly offered by Tehran. Had he been captured, the consequences would have been profound. The colonel is now safe, but Iran's infrastructure remains on the front line, with the threat to destroy it only intensifying.
And Lewis is here. Lewis, putting aside the president's language, which even by his standards is quite something, if he does carry through on these threats, it would have huge implications, wouldn't it?
It would. Targeting infrastructure like power plants would be considered by many as a war crime. Let's be blunt about that. You're not just hitting military sites, you'd be affecting hospitals, schools, the civilians of Iran. And that would raise serious legal and moral questions. And remember, Iran is a population of around 90-odd million people, and not that long ago, Donald Trump was encouraging them to rise up against this regime. I question how you can do that in the modern day without electricity and power and the basic rights. Negotiations, Donald Trump says, with Iran are going on at the moment and are going well, but in the last hour he's put another post online saying Tuesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Time, and one can predict that's probably his latest deadline for Iran.
So many contradictions. Thank you. Peace in the Middle East was at the heart of Easter messages from both Pope Leo and the new Archbishop of Canterbury, Dame Sarah Mullally. Services have been held around the world, including in Windsor, where the King and his family attended church, as Sabah Chowdhury reports.
Easter Sunday at St. Peter's Basilica, a celebration of life over death. The new Pope Leo XIV today drawing on that message, using his Easter speech to call for an end to war.
Chi ha in mano armi.
Let those who have weapons lay them down, he said. Let those who have the power to unleash wars choose peace, not a peace imposed by force, but through dialogue. We're growing accustomed to violence and becoming indifferent to the deaths of thousands of people. A plea for peace from the pontiff, who today, as tradition dictates, baptised 10 people from around the world, including a woman from Britain, as Leo marked his first Easter as Pope. Another first today for the Archbishop of Canterbury, Dame Sarah Mullally. Just weeks into the role, she used her Easter sermon also to call for an end to conflict.
Let us pray and call with renewed urgency for an end to the violence and destruction in the Middle East and the Gulf.
In Jerusalem, a different picture. The heart of the Easter story with heightened security. And churches closed under a declared state of emergency. Back at home, business as usual for the royal family. Notably absent from St. George's Chapel was Andrew Mountbatten Windsor. It's understood his daughters made alternative plans. And while tradition continues here, it's clear elsewhere the message of Easter feels more distant. Sabah Chowdhury, ITV News.
Soft drinks giant PepsiCo has told ITV News it's withdrawing sponsorship for the UK's Wireless Festival in response to a row over its headliner, Kanye West. The Prime Minister had condemned the event for booking the American rapper despite his previous anti-Semitic remarks. Charlotte Cross has the story.
After 11 years away, it was billed as Kanye West's big comeback to the UK. 3 days headlining Wireless Festival in London's Finsbury Park. But even among fans, reaction has been muted.
It's a shame that a festival of such big renown has got someone like that.
I know he has said some horrendous things, so he shouldn't really be headlining a major festival.
I do like his music, and we are Jewish. I wouldn't protest about it or anything.
If he was to come, I would like to hear him as like the old Kanye, but I can understand if some people don't really agree with him being headline for Wireless.
In recent years, West has attacked Judaism repeatedly, declaring himself a Nazi and praising Hitler. The Prime Minister has now joined the chorus of voices criticising the festival, saying it is deeply concerning that Kanye West has been booked to perform at Wireless despite his previous anti-Semitic remarks and celebration of Nazism.
Now, West did apologise back in January, attributing his past actions to bipolar disorder. But earlier this week, a spokesperson for the Jewish Leadership Council referenced a similar apology back in 2023, after which, of course, West still went on to release his single, Heil Hitler.
The guy has got a history of making bigoted and anti-Semitic comments and then apologising for them and then doing them again. And then blaming it all on mental health issues. It seems to us, if that's the case, that he would need to take out quite a lot of time to deal with his health issues.
Pepsi was the major sponsor for Wireless. Its decision to pull out will be a huge blow to the organisers. They have yet to respond. Charlotte Cross, ITV News.
A 16-year-old boy and 19-year-old man have been arrested on suspicion of murder following the fatal shooting of a 14-year-old boy in southeast London. Egoza Ogbabor was shot and killed in Woolwich on Thursday afternoon. A 46-year-old man has also been arrested on suspicion of assisting an offender. Two boys aged 14 and 16 and an 18-year-old who were all arrested on Friday have since been released on bail. A 13-year-old who died in a crash in Bedfordshire has been named as Noah Campbell. Two other teenagers were taken to hospital after the crash between a car, a bike and a scooter in Flitwick on Friday. A man and a woman have been charged in connection with the incident. And homes were left without power and travel's been disrupted today after Storm Dave swept over the UK last night, bringing wind gusts at 93 miles per hour. A plane in Dublin was forced to approach the runway sideways yesterday during the severe gales. For more than 40 years, Scottish Football League's champions have either been Rangers or Celtic. This season, though, there's a third club vying for the title, Hearts. They haven't won the league for more than 60 years, but a point away to Livingston this afternoon means they're still the team to catch, as Chris Scudder reports.
It's been a faraway dream for Hearts. 66 years since they won the title. Celtic and Rangers have cleaned up for so long, the rest have almost given up waiting for a change in the country's football climate. Avoid defeat here and Hearts would go back to the top where they've been nearly all season. But they hit early trouble. Going a goal down to bottom club Livingston inside 5 minutes. The Edinburgh club needed a quick response and got one from Lawrence Shankland. It wouldn't be Scotland without some spring snow, and with the remnants of Storm Dave blowing hard, a man from warmer climes, Claudio Braga, scored what looked like being a precious winning goal. Livingston had not even won a game since last summer, but in this most unpredictable of seasons, they wrecked the title challengers' hopes of a crucial victory with an equalising goal. It didn't end well for Hearts either. Mark Leonard was sent off for a late rugby tackle, one of the most exciting Scottish season finishes for years. Chris Scudder, ITV News.
There's been late drama in today's FA Cup quarter-final as West Ham and Leeds are tied at 2-2. Leeds led the match in normal time before the Hammers scored twice in injury time to send the match into extra time. Finally, the crew on board Artemis 2 are close to making history. Overnight tonight, they're expected to reach the far side of the moon, travelling further into space than any humans have ventured before. But they're still having to contend with a rather more down-to-earth problem, as Jake Robson reports.
Day 4 of the Artemis space mission, and a sight never seen before. The Orion 2 spacecraft has now passed the halfway point to the moon, and is well on course to make the 4 astronauts on board the furthest ever humans from Earth.
You can see it when you look out the window. The Earth is almost in full eclipse, the moon is almost in full daylight, and the only way you could get that view is to be halfway between the two entities. It is truly awe-inspiring up here.
And the firsts don't end there. Reed Wiseman, Victor Glover, Christina Cook and Jeremy Hansen have also become the only humans ever to lay eyes on the far side of the moon.
What we are probably most excited as a crew about seeing on the moon would be an amazing feature called Oriental, and it is sometimes known as the Grand Canyon of the moon, and no human eyes previously had seen this crater until today.
But it's not all been plain sailing, with yet more issues reported with the onboard toilet, which NASA says could be caused by the vent lines freezing.
You're getting a live look outside the windows of the Orion spacecraft as they conduct that wastewater dump.
Orion will now have to move to an angle where the sun will hopefully be able to thaw it out. But the spirits are still very much up, with the crew even finding time for some special words.
As we go into Easter Sunday thinking about, all the cultures all around the world, whether you celebrate it or not, whether you believe in God or not, this is an opportunity for us to remember where we are, who we are, and that we are the same thing.
Victor Glover with the furthest away Easter message ever delivered. Jake Robson, ITV News.
And that is all for now. I am back with the late news at 10. And until then, have a very happy Easter. Goodbye.